quite a different cultural environment to elsewhere in China. And if you were to open it up in China, it seems to me you have the same sort of local political issues which are going to be the hallmark in Japan. How do you make a decision between Beijing and Shanghai or Guangzhou or any of the other 5 million plus people cities in China? Extremely difficult. So I really don't expect that to change.
Yeah, but what happened in Hainan is it was interesting because, of course, Hainan has a modern history of being a testing ground for certain kinds of policies and being a special economic zone from 1988 when it first became a province in its own right. It appears that this latest experiment has however, run into some unexpected turbulence and, well, it's just going to have the massive resorts without the official or semi-official cashless casinos.
Ben, is that a question or time?
No, I do have a question. I picked up on something you said earlier, David, with great interest. You said that Francis Tam did not categorically reject the possibility of more concessions. And then you went on to explain that, look, apart from that, there are other issues, the availability of land, and so forth and so forth. But part of the chatter that came out earlier this year or last year is that, when they were talking about the possibilities of more concession, that one of them could be a Macau concession for Macau. Now, you live here as I do, and we've seen this ground movement. We're now talking about bus system for locals. We've heard talks about Macau property for Macanese. And in that same vein, is there a possibility that one of the new concessions could perhaps be not a brand new investor, but a rearrangement of existing casinos to form a new concession which would be held either in trust for the Macanese or there would be shares given to the locals? How would you describe that chatter?
Well, I've got to be careful with what I say. The government doesn't need a concession for a start because the government owns the rights. So it can basically act independently if it wishes to do so. I think that the whole concept of whether there should be a Temasek-like sovereign wealth fund which, as you say, develops something for the people of Macau is a very interesting concept. As you know, we're currently on this so-called wealth sharing program, which gives all permanent residents 9,000 MOP this year. It's been going, I think, for about 4 or 5 years now. And one way, I guess, of decoupling that reliance on just an annual check would in fact be to give people some sort of either direct or indirect equity interest in operations. But I can see lots of reasons why that would be extremely difficult. I mean, governments don't want to operate casinos generally, they're not very good at it. So the first question is, well, how do you operate something like that? Secondly, if you're going to do it properly, you would really need also to offer advancement opportunities for Macau locals through that structure. I think everyone's aware one of the criticisms of some of the operators in Macau is that they haven't done enough for the career paths of locals. Now, the government possibly hasn't assisted that by requiring that all dealers be locals. But even so, the progression from being a dealer to management roles in the casino is an issue. And certainly in terms of developing human capital, that is a very important issue in my view. But I think I'll leave it at that in terms of comment. I certainly wouldn't want to offer